This stuff here in Yerushalmi Shabbos in the article Oz Bahar edition. We are on the top line of Chab Beit Alav, where there's a header in the Gemara. Shall beats up, but it's not puncture the tube of the tube. Uh, put oil in it. In the Vilna, there is no header. It is on Yud Zayin and base immediately after the Mishnah. So Lama Shachakira here in the Yerushalmi. Why can't you use this tube or this egg to stockpile? Um, the Mishum Shlo Huscha B'chol Tipa Tipa is because not every drop has started its movement towards the wick. Hashem Mishkafi Areh, maybe you're going to forget and pour out. Moshe explains, Boy Ashas Lama Asu B'Shavhes behind the time must nisin. Those things mentioned Mishnah Mishum Shlo Huscha and the starts the Shofar Shabitza, same thing with the plate at the end of the Mishnah. Is it because you didn't start the movement of each and every drop towards Zikr of Shabbos? Just drips afterwards. It puts it as if so it should drop in on Shabbos. Maybe you're going to pour the oil from the tube into the main candle on Shabbos, and that you're going to add to the fire. That's the Pnei Moshe. Rabbi says the opposite of that. Shem Yishka v'Yara Odim l'Kachos Shem Yishkach v'Stapik min Hashem and Sheva Bitza. The Beitza. Maybe you're going to take from the oil in the egg. Became a chitzul in there. Chayim mishum chabet. Since you designate to be part of the candle, you're chayim mishum chabet. The mamish min hakotze el hakotze. Difference between the Korban Ada and the Pnei Moshe. If I recall correctly, the Pasuk on the Bavli is like the Korban Ada. They're going to take it away and some Chaim Mishum Chabed because it's designated to be part of the candle. But the Pnei Moshe is, I guess, the language of Yareh. These holds means it's going to pour into the candle itself. Mani v'neim, one nafik being v'neim, what's in between the two? Hain, the kuka di yiklon. So the kuka di yiklon. Again, we're going to make Pnei Moshe going to have difference between their interpretations. The Pnei Moshe says, Hain kuka di koloni k'mel shofer shel hakad. The tube of a pitcher. Zkuka miloshon zikas hanod v'kilin who kilon who something tag kad kilon is kad tag mishava kadol shichmov klas kad for. That's a hita kara pianer. If you incline a pitcher on top of the candle, shem nasim shveshlo, and the oil is in its tube. Lativa dochaner to drip into the candle. You're not going to forget and pour. Right? Since well, the cut to the chase. It says it's heavy, so you're going to remember by the time you pick it up. If the reason because lahuscha b'chol tipa tipa, also it's not huscha b'chol tipa v'tipa. So a god, you're not going to. It's not simple. So the dripping pitcher would be okay. The Korban says it's a noda suyamina dekel. It's tumas mikol sad. Like Melech Shem Istape behen inami shem usos. And for some reason, since they're closed on all sides, I'm not sure exactly what the reality is. So therefore, not afraid you're going to take away from the oil. I guess maybe the drip is a very small hole. Anyway, or else because they're pumped, you're not going to use the oil for another purpose. They're not considering to take the oil away. The Mashbiach says that it's okay. What I wrote, read what I wrote here. I guess I'm Mashbiach inside. Yeah, so you're right. Zakuka, the clone means something which is required, zakuk, to be burnt because it's repugnant to oil. So you guys, because but there's also not huskal. But if you're going to say you're going to remove it, like Korban Eish, you're going to move it and use it elsewhere, that you're not going to do. Since it's repugnant, you're not going to take it and use it anywhere else. So zakuka diklon is required to be burnt. Again, Inte Mashum Shlo Huska B'chol Tipa, Hare Lo Huska B'chol Tipa. Tipa, I would say it's issues Lo Huska, it's not Huska, Inte Mashem Mishkav Yera, Hare Neshech Mari, you're not going to forget and spill it out. The I have here in my notes that there's a 2 dots here in the Vilna. I wonder if it's also in the Art Scroll. It's 1 dot. So but Bnei Moshe, according to Bnei Moshe, and Shari Pshuto, it's not. There's not supposed to be 2 dots here, but it seems that it is the 2 dots, and there's a header, and that's a header. So where it says, Shani Yishikula Echad, if is it? It's the Mashbiach says the question. If is it different because it's completely one? I mean, what kind of connection is this? So the Shani Shikula. Well, I'm not sure that's the way to read it actually. Okay, I see. I learned like the Mashbiach. I think it's a little bit far fetched, but I guess it is. It's I felt at the time it's the best shot. Why I call it Nichibra Yotzim Mitchila Mutter, right? If it's uh, um, it's a chibur. It's one cheli. So when you chibra Yotzim Mitchila. So he says. Still, yeah, Shani Chaber Yotzim Mitchila Mutter. Shani Shkul Echad. It's a question, right? It's all one. So what do you mean chibra? Even Chibra Sidu keeps this. He says, no, it's a tie back case where he started as 2 different components and he put them together with plaster or gypsum of some sort. I'm not sure why I didn't like the carbonated. The carbonated seems to be a nice shot. He says that, well, I guess also, so the question answer that, Im Chibra Yetzim Mitchila, Shaish Kol Echad isn't different that it's all one thing. So so it's obviously it's mutter. So he says, "Elin chiba even about bias." I guess he's introducing a new element, which is not really anymore. He says the question is obviously it's one thing. What do you mean chibra? It's one thing. The answer is it was 2 things, but the Baal Bais Yotzer made us 2 separate kalim, and the Baal Bais put it connected. That's good enough. Okay, so now we have a new issue from our Mishnah. Who this matir? Yos makes sense that he's matir. Yehuda Kedaita, Yehuda Omer Mashka Tofech Chibur. If you have moisture, which connects 2 pieces, 2 pools of liquid, that is going to be a chibur. And Korbaneh says, "What he needs also if there's a flow." Since the oil is flowing from the egg into the candle, have a chibur's connection to the as if each and every um, uh, um, um, drop has started its flow towards the candle. The Yosef, again, the Yosef, Mashka the Vechibur. Time still achas b'shnei kosos. If you have 1 wick in 2 cups, b'shnei koros into plates, b'shnei tamchuim to pots. Also, that's Rabbanan. He does matter. Is like he says that the Rabbi Tofeh moisture connects and the wick itself is a I'm not sure why yeah, well that's different. In other words, the first case was the mashka tofeh, the drip is what's maker because it's going to prepare shabitza, the drip. The second case in our Mishnah, when it's going from cup to cup or from plate to plate, the wick itself is the moisture which is mechaber between the 2 kalim, the which is the moisture in the wick. It's going from one kalim to the other kalim. Okay. Says the next Mishnah. Hamachavas in them neshu misyorim ne akum ne listim ne ruach ra. Somebody uh, uh, who extinguishes the candle because he's afraid of non-Jews, of bandits. Ruach ra, the some sort of bad spirit. Seems what the when he does this place has some sort of malady where he sees a candle, it's bad for him, and the candle's extinguished, he'll feel better. He shall does it for a sick person, so he'll be able to sleep. Potter, it's also, but it's potter. It's not the malach of mechaber. Because he wants to save the candle. Kachas Hashem wants to save the oil. Kachas Hashem wants to save the wick. He's chayav. So the nair evidently means the vessel, and or the oil or the wick. He's chayav. It says all of them is potter. The only time it's mechaber chutzin psila is if he wants to save the wick. Because he's making coal, and that is the lacha tzricha legufa. The reason why they extinguished fires in the Mishkan was in order to make coal. Amar Rabbi Shmuel bar Rabbi Yitzchak mnei akum shel sakana. This is because of akum of danger. They listim shel sakana because a bandit of danger. So it's because of fashas. Rabbi Yossi bar yes, even they listim shel sakana nislu mutter. Wait a minute. If it's sakana fashas, it shouldn't say potter. It should say mutter. Rabbi Yossi said in fact mutter. It is evidently they had a girsa in the Mishnah that it's mutter in the circumstances because sakana is fashas. Okay, so now the Gemara asks, "Ma bein hamatzui masha ner, bein hamatzui masha ba zayis." So there's the Yerushalmi Shabbos brings the girsa ba bais instead of ba kazayis, and it should be the if you according to our Mishnah, it should be also to save furniture in the house which is burning because they're also they're also fuel. So it's that answers Rabbi Shila Dinva. The carbonated says it's a place of name or a part of his name. So that's there's no comparison when you're saving something from, which is part and parcel of the candle and the wick, being drawn up to the wick, and in other words, it's part of the chefs of the candle. The lematzah chutz gufa shel and something which is outside the body of the wick and the furniture in the house. It's not considered to be fuel at this point because it's not part and parcel of the body of the candle. So I like that girsa of babais, where it's from. So our parents called Pnei Meir, and name of Rabbeinu Chusia. Okay, amen. So I guess even saying Zayas, it means something which is somehow outside Zayas is also outside. If you remove the olives from the house, I don't know. It's also something which is beyond the candle. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, Shneim, Amru Davar Echad. They both said the same thing. Rabbi Yossi and Mishnah and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Yossi said, "Come Rabbi Yossi Amar Achi Lo Tzorech Begufa Shapsila." Has to in order to be so long as gufa. If you need the wick for some other purpose, you need the singed wick as a form of coal. Can Rabbi Shimon Amar Achi Lo Tzorech Begufa Shal Davar. So to Rabbi Shimon, he's the one who says, post Rabbi Yehuda, that you only chayiv in the blachas tzricha legufa. The blacha shein tzricha legufa is potter. My islecha, so my islecha tzorech begufa shel psila. What is this need for the body of psila? Rabbanan Gesara B'Elazar Shem Merchina said shkein sham Moshe umnin the I guess the apprentices in the craftsmen's houses, the shamoshim mecharchim lo they singe the wick in order for him to work with it. Kama the tamer, like we learned in the lesson of lachroch, is like from it's Aramaic, like it says in Daniel B'Sar Hashem lo hischarech. The hair of the head was not burnt, singed. Ma mecharchon lon. What is language of mecharchon? Mefasfin lon. So I heard from, I wrote this down, neighbor Micha Berger, as lotion of phosphor, Phosphor is uh, phosphorus is something which is burns brightly. So so that's I guess Greek for the for what for the idea of singeing it. Time of thing we learn kol mekalkel term anybody who is mekalkel is potter chutzira mavir mina is chabura. Saying this also brought down the Bavli, this Shita, and Mekalka is potter, except when you are burning something or when you're making a wound. Bakaparamar afilu eno tzorich lidam. Uh, even if you don't need the words of Mekalka, even if you don't need the blood, afilu eno tzorich le'efer. You mean you don't need the ashes. The the Gillian Schatz adds in here. Rabbi Yochanan said, no, he argues, says, we should tzarech them, we should tzarech le'efer. Kein tzarech lamar. Kein misham psachim perik babalach aleph. So it's about chlekes. The Ramban also brings down this that's the way the Gersa should be in Yerushalmi. So it's Mogus, Rabbi Yochanan and Ben Bar Kapara, and that makes sense. The next part of the Gemara, Masnisa pliga al Rabbi Yochanan. The Brisa seems to argue the Brisa there seems to argue Rabbi Yochanan where it says "Kom kagim b'nei chutzina ma'avim it's chabura." Okay, so where it goes on. Let's talk about Moshe and Tzchil Gufa. Shora shehilik esa godish b'Shabbos chayiv. Your ox which ignites somebody else's pile of grain on Shabbos, you're chayiv to pay. Who shehilik esa godish b'Shabbos potter? You ignite a pile of grain on Shabbos, you're exempt. But kim the rabbinate. And that, if I recall from I've seen it called Lashon of King Raminate does not appear in Yerushalmi, but the principle does appear. Shor Shili is a Kodesh b'Shabbos Chayv Shalom Tzarech. His ox, which ignited the Kaddish on Shabbos, is Chayiv. The Imit Shalom Tzarech. I mean, it's not a Torah, obviously. So therefore, but it's chayiv. It's chayiv, regardless. It's Torah. It's obviously it's the prelude to ask a question about a person. But here, who should is going to Shabbos potter? He, if he lied to the Shabbos, is he potter? I feel sure it's Torah. Even if it's not a Torah, no, it's Yom Malach and Tzich Legufa is potter. So he's not mischay benafsho. It's not chayv misa. So therefore, is he potter from paying? Because king rabbinay or not? So Tani, we learned Kol Mischayv Nafsho Shogig maybe Chatos. The anybody's Mischayv Nafsho, he's Chayv. He was over the capital crime. So if it's did it b'shayis means Chatos. Rabbi Chanina braid Rav Hillel meachar so litzorech. Here it says shlo tzorech, but the Korban Ein read Baz both change it. Me'achar l'tzorech ha'mischayv nafsho. Since it was l'tzorech, he mischayv nafsho. I guess this Bryce is just brought down as a prelude for the Bryce of Kol Mischayv nafsho shoyim maybe chatos. Not shoyim maybe is a prelude for the same Rabbi China Breder Rav Hill. Me'achar, and it should be again it's Korban Midbar change to say l'tzorech mischayv nafsho, but can here I feel sure lo l'tzorech even it's not l'tzorech. Yeah, part of Shlomi is part of Shlomi. King Rabbinate, like we find in the Bavli as well, is potter even if you're chayav misa shoygeg, even you're not chayav misa, even it didn't actually be mitzchayav misa, and therefore also shlo tzorach. Since it would be the tzorach and mitzchayav and nafsho, even shlo tzorach, you're potter because of King Rabbinate. Kind of feel shlo tzorach, you're potter mina shlomim, and here all even shlo tzorach you're exempt from payment. Minadah, like we learned, makabei mishamena makadam yumas. If you hit an animal, you pay. If you hit a person, you die. Mama kamen lochi lakta above and shogi lemezid l'chayva moment doesn't mean if you intentionally or unintentionally you have to pay. And maka adam l'takla above and shogi bemezid liptor moment they're being exempt from paying. So and now the shogi here includes obviously the chiluk is ben between even if it's a malach and tzigluguva they are not mitzchayev. Still, you are going to be potter. Okay, Uh, uh, so as the two Yerushalayim points out, it's a big chiddush. The Yerushalmi is a chiddush because it's going a step further because it's not just shogeg, but it's not doesn't have tzur malacha, right? But he says since it is even though it's only a rabbanon because melchshein tzur legufa, since there's a chalei, since it has a shame malacha, but it's a melechus ptur. Even though it's melechus ptur, it's still part because of kiddush rabbanei. So it's a Yerushalmi is chiddush. Again, the Bible, you don't find this kind of the idea that Melech and Circle Gufa, according to the opinion that holds, like Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon, that your potter, you should be, this Kinner Rabbinay still applies. That's the Chiddush here of this Yerushalmi. Okay, that brings us to the next Amud, so we'll stop here.